Hello, hello, hello. Ilmarin. Oh, you guys are, wow. There's people. Here? People. That's, wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome to, well, first of all, I hope you can hear me. So if you can hear me, say something in the chat, please. But yeah, wow. Roland, thank you very much. Those are some airplanes I painted a year or so ago. Yeah, Ilmarin, I'm supposed to have a way of fixing that, but I'm been too busy painting to mess with that. So, I'm just basically stealing all of Chris Lewis's fans. I'll leave it up there, and all his people will come and see me. Roland, you're asking about the airplanes? Yeah, those are primarily Terrans. I think they're Terrans. But that was actually a squad for a special one-off tournament that we ran in 2019. Thank you, Ilmarin, for letting me know you can hear me. There was Todd Farnholtz ran a one-off campaign called, a tournament called the War Master Tournament, which is actually based on some fiction in the book. War Master is sort of like an Olympics they hold, sort of, kind of World Cup / Olympics. But yeah, that's it was a force I made up for that tournament. And so it was just it had a lot of weird construction rules, and so we were allowed to build very highly specialized squads, and I had the crazy idea to run all airplanes. And between the fact that airplanes are immune to indirect fire, and airplanes are soft, so they're immune to max, and people just not knowing how to handle airplanes, I did quite well. In fact, I won that tournament. Probably the only tournament I think I've ever won in my life. Probably. Certainly the only CAV tournament I've ever won. So yeah, that's what those guys are. I painted those up in about a month, I want to say. Maybe a little bit more than a month. Freehand on the little white bits. Anyway, those came out decent. Man. It's probably the last thing I painted that came out decent. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, absolutely, Ilmarin. You nailed it. Yeah, I haven't played in a while. I have a bunch of dudes as well. Probably not as many as Ilmarin, but I've got a bunch of dudes, and I haven't actually played a table game since early last year. Other than the games that John and I did at the first virtual CAV-CON, which I guess were technically games. So technically my last game was in September. But yeah, basically that's what's going on. And speaking of virtual CAV-CON, that's what I'm getting ready for now. I have been painting the yellow school bus force, as you might be able to see. And today I'm going to work on a little edge highlighting. I'm just going to do some really extreme white edge highlighting. Let me get this on camera. It's really hard to pick up. But I'm just basically going through and laying down a really quick, down and dirty white edge highlight. It's hard to see. This crappy camera of mine. Anyway, it's there. You could see it when we were in person. That's what I've been doing. Wow. Roland, I am sorry to hear that, buddy. Yeah, totally get it. That's okay. Things will turn around. Come and hang out with us. So I don't recognize you, Roland. If you've been here before, it's because I've got a bad memory. Yeah, seriously, Ilmarin. So just a quick introduction. Wow, Roland, you've been playing this game longer than I have, or at least been a fan of it longer than I have. So this is a show I do on Talon Games channel, but I don't work for Talon Games or anything like that. I'm just a volunteer, a guy that does stuff. I like the game. I like John, so chipped in to help out. And this is not me teaching people how to paint. I'm not that guy. It's not my thing. What this is paint day at your local hobby shop. So like if you and I happen to live in the same town, we would go down to the CAV, whatever store supported CAV, and sit around maybe and paint some minis. And that's what this is, us hanging out, talking about our forces and how much we have to paint and what we want to do and how we're going to win a tournament and how we're ever going to beat Ross Hines and Todd and all those other crazy people. Anyway, so this is just a hangout session. Welcome in. I'm glad to see you. Welcome to everybody. So, yeah, I got a whole bunch of yellow dudes that I've been working on. Yellow dudes for days. Drop them on the table. That's what you do with your yellow dudes. So this is my force I'm painting up for virtual CAV-CON. Don't know that we're actually going to get a chance to play it, but we're pretending like we are so we can, generate some steam. So anyway, yeah, these are... I don't have a name for these guys yet, other than school buses, which everybody seems to even want to call them. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I got them mostly done. A little bit of basing, a little tiny bit of dry brushing that needs to be done on the tank treads here. Again, try and get this where you can see it. So I've gone in, I painted a couple of different metals on here, and now I want to come back in and do a little spot highlighting, dry brushing, whatever you want to call it, just to bring some of the shiny bits back up. And then those guys will be done. I am genuinely ready for this whole force to be done because I've still got these guys to paint. This is, I made up a kind of a game that I'm going to run at Virtual CAV-CON called CAV-Ball. CAV-Ball is sort of like demolition soccer. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, so we've got this random force of mechs that we're going to demo this weird CAV variant with, where we kick a bunch of what amount to soccer balls, CAV balls as I call them, around the table and try and score on each other's goals. The goals are defended by turrets. Hold on a second. Turrets will be defending the goals and firing at the CAVs to try and damage them, and the other CAVs can hurt each other, but not with direct fire weapons. There's a lot of little rules to it. My wife and I have play tested it a handful of times since I can't actually go down to the game store to play test it. Yellow Jack. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Man, Roland, you're you're killing it for again, as far as I can tell, you're a first timer. I don't honestly know. Yeah, hey, listen, I love all the games. I like CAV a little better than that other mecha game, but they're both good. John calls it that other mecha game, so we should probably stick with that. John is John Walker, also known as CAV Boss, the guy that owns CAV. So yeah, we'll just call it that other mecha game. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of those pieces are usable in all the games. So I'll get some painting going on here. So, fuck, right off the bat. I said that out loud too, didn't I? Shit. I'm a bad person. Roland, you're bad influence. I'm sorry. I try not to cuss. And here I was, before you guys showed up, I was doing great. I promise. Dog ate my homework too. Move this microphone just a little bit. Cool. That's so I played that game when it very first came out. I'm not the youngest person in the crowd, I guarantee you that. I have been into tabletop miniature games for a very long time. The last time I actually played the other mecha game, there were not the clans did not exist. And again, it's not because I dislike that game. I just found other things to do and got sidetracked with life, and just never had a regular group. I would have played that game a lot more, but it just didn't work out for me. But I knew it when it was young, fairly young. God bless. Part of it is, I'm going to claim, is that I have to paint underneath this camera. And that can be challenging. Very, very challenging. Hey, Cthulhu! Yeah, good Lord. I'm a bad person. And I gotta go do a good deed to apologize for my faux pas. I was probably going to try and do a good deed anyway, though, so I'll just double up. claim credit for the work I'm going to do anyway. Let's see if I can get this here. So, Cthulhu. I just want to say, I saw your post in the off-topic forum of the Discord with that some kind of fiery dog looking thing. I had to look at it on my phone, so I couldn't get a very good image of it, but it looked really good. You've been killing it lately, volume-wise, man, and quality as well. Just, I mean, like, constantly cranking stuff out. Awesome. Totally awesome. Sorry. I get a little quiet sometimes when I have to concentrate. Coming in just so these guys are just trying to accentuate the surfaces just a little bit. These 10 millimeter models, they have great detail, but they're still so small. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I was in the Army back in the mid 80s, and that's when I started playing it. I first played it at a convention pre-88, but not by a lot. Wait, I was in the Army? Yeah, I was in the Army. So it probably had to be like 87. It wasn't much. It wasn't much before 88. And I'm not trying to one-up you or anything. I'm just like, I hadn't met my wife, and I met my wife. So it had to be early 87. Maybe late 86. But yeah. Yeah, I still remember. The first time we played it, we just played it with, chits, right, and the little map boards. And they told me you could shed more heat if you stood in the water. So I just went and parked myself in the lake and stood there and got shot at the whole game. I'm not sure my strategy was very effective, but I wasn't going to overheat. By gosh. And then in 20 of all things, I believe it was 2017. I went to CAV-CON, where I ran into Colonel Kane, who sometimes joins us here. And he was doing demos for CAV at the time, and they had a big, display case, sort of one of those IKEA-looking things, as I recall. Something along those lines. And that caught my attention, and then he was giving out demos. Oh, wow. Yeah, Roland, you're a little bit younger than me. I was getting ready to get married back when it was right before I got married. So yeah, I'm probably the oldest person in CAV. Maybe not, but I'm going to claim it until somebody proves otherwise. This is the part that makes me the most nervous, because this is a rounded edge, so it's not really crisp, and it's real easy to get too broad a stroke. Or you could just sit here and not actually apply any paint for like 10 minutes in a row. As they say in disc golf, you just got to commit to the shot, right? I like disc golf a little bit too. Played through Christmas Dinner. Oh, I bet that was fun. That was great. Did you get the board game version, or were there minis at that time, Roland? Because I want to say when I first played it, we just played with chits of some kind. But I could be wrong. Man, that's been a long time. There might have been a few little models. Yeah, okay. Heck, I might have played with models too and just not remember it. So then when my wife and I very first got married, I taught her how to play games, and she ended up loving it. We still have an old Shadowhawk that was her, quote unquote, her mech, her pilot's mech that we played. We played that mech RPG game that was out. I can't think of the name of that. What was the name of that RPG that they made? Anyway, black Shadowhawk with gold trim. We've still got that around here somewhere. I should drag it out and John might kill me if I showed that on stream. Not really, but Come on now. not what I want. So when I do get a line that's a little bit too wide, I just keep kind of a wet brush nearby and I can just lift it back up if I'm quick. Roland, that may be the last time you ever saw cheap plastic minis in your life, so you should cherish that memory. I'm not sure the word cheap applies to miniatures anymore, even the ones that are less expensive. Alternately expensive. Yeah. I've got to that point in life where, model quality is, or just plain cool factor is the deciding feature in my stuff lately. And I've actually gotten kind of clever. So of all things, I bought a painted miniature the other day in an auction it was a charity auction. And it was, a big sort of Titan, like 40K Titan-esque miniature. It wasn't actually a 40K miniature, but it was in that realm of size. And it was painted, and it was, like I said, it was an auction for charity. And so I was just like, hey, I can get this model that I want, and I can donate to charity. And I don't have to explain that to anybody. I'm just doing a good deed, right? I always like to say on this channel, let's all do some good deeds. Well, my good deed was to donate money and receive a painted miniature for it. So, yay for me. Dreamforge Leviathan, I think is what it's called. Man. This is not easy to do this far away from my eyeballs. So it'll stay kind of under the camera. Kind of. Oh well. I am ready to be done with these yellow models. I've been terrible painting these guys. I had them almost in this condition like 2 weeks ago, and then I tried doing some purple on them. And I tried a couple of different ways, and I kept struggling with it, and I finally just got mad and painted over it and rebuilt the yellow. So I'm like right back where I was 2 weeks ago, and except now I have less time, of course, to get all my stuff done for virtual CAV-CON. Sorry, I'm concentrating here. But, yeah. That's what's going on. Gimli! All right, it's time to start singing songs now. Gimli's here. You lead us off, Gimli. Start singing. I'll join in when it gets to the refrain. Oh, wait a minute. I can't hear you. That's going to be hard to do, isn't it? Ride on the magic school bus. The wheels on the bus go round and round. See, I told you I'd kick in when I heard the refrain. The treads on the bus go clank, clank, clank. Oh my gosh. People that might accidentally stumble into this channel are going to be like, what kind of crap is that? Twitch? Get this guy off here. Get this guy off of here. All right, that's just me being dumb. I'm not going to do that. Chasing the wrong rabbit. What I would like to do is get a little line right across this crease right here. And I don't think I'm going to... Nah. And it's so hard to get this angle. Yeah, I think I just need to wait and do this when you guys aren't watching. I mean, I can hold it up by my eyeballs. All right. And again, I'm not trying to go too crazy here because A, I've got a lot of other things I got to get done between now and, what is it, next Wednesday? Lots and lots of the thingies. But, you know. Death school buses, yeah. Yep. When your children absolutely, positively have to make it to school, despite the opposition's best efforts. So I'm basically just trying to put on lines in the same direction as, like, I imagine the light. So like I'm thinking there's a light coming this way. So I tried to leave this a little darker over here. And so I'm just going to put these white lines on this side and then like in a few places back here where the light might shoot over the turret and catch maybe. That's what I'm trying to do. But it's not easy. Trying to get this low angle so I can use the edge of the brush just barely. Transfer paint. That's my style of painting, is to spend like excessive amounts of time trying to paint a line that nobody's going to see when they're looking at your miniatures, ever. The only way they would see it is if they picked it up and inspected it. But yeah, that's me. I'm just, you know, weird that way. I'm like, it matters to me. I want to make myself happy with these here models. And so I paint the lines that I like. And the ones I don't like, I don't paint. Oh, that's a little too much. Picked it up with my fingers. Yeah, sweet, Roland. What are we talking, like buildings, bunkers, towers, tank traps? What are we looking at? Hills, trees? Yeah, Ilmer, I'm basically patterning my, you know, I'm following in your footsteps, you know. Basically, I saw your post and I was like, wow. That's a very fine gradation of green he's going for there. Basically, 5 layers of green before you actually change colors. No, I mean, the model you're working on is looking good. It's just, wow, that's, you know, I honestly feel like sometimes I put too much effort into these little 10mm models. I mean, they're good models and you can do really good paint jobs on them. But a lot of the techniques that I try or that I'm used to are really like bigger model techniques, I think. At least that's my excuse. That's what I tell myself. All right. When we get a chance, I'm probably going to try and come in and paint some sort of rounded. So this is edge highlighting, but really, I don't know if you can see. Let me get this. You guys can't see anything. Maybe the exposure is too high here. Try and do this. Does that help? No, exposure. Let me adjust the exposure on this. I didn't realize it was cranked up quite that high. That's not really what I'm looking for. Let's see if I can get this dialed in just a little bit better. If I don't accidentally get the camera stuck, so I have to come back in and restart the stream. There we go. Let's apply that. Done. Oh, my goodness, the camera's still working. Yeah. So on these little curved bits of barrel right here, I've got a kind of a nice change from yellow to this kind of dirty orange. But what I'll do later when I'm not on stream here is I'll come in and I will paint a little squiggly triangle line just to kind of represent kind of like a blurry, rounded sort of a highlight. I'll do that here and here and here, just to give those guys a little bit more oomph. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm shooting for. City streets you 3D printed. Cool. Streets are good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. That's something. I've got a mat that I use for an urban environment that I like, but it's really a 28 millimeter map, so the roads are a little big. I would like to fix that, but yeah. Yeah, Ilmarin, that Imperator. I'm actually looking forward to seeing it done. Looking forward to seeing that puppy done. What am I going to work on next? I think I'm just going to try and crank out these poltergeists. Something to hold on to. And off we go. So yeah, tomorrow night is hopefully John. Wednesday is me and John, and then Thursday, hopefully, should be the Big Stompy podcast, which is an old podcast we used to do about CAV that we kind of get together nowadays and we do it on Twitch. So you see me talking and hear other people talking, and we'll discuss all kinds of things. And then it'll be, I guess I'll have one more cast before virtual CAV-CON next Monday. So next Monday will be the real pivot point, the milestone. How much of this stuff do I have done by next Monday? Hopefully I will not be touching yellow models next Monday. Hopefully. If I'm still painting on these yellow models next Monday, shoot me. For my own good. Put me out of my misery. So Roland, are you on? Yeah, me too, Cthulhu. Totally ready for that dropship as well. Roland, are you on Facebook or Discord? Because if so, if you're not already, there are CAV groups on both of those that are fairly active. Might be something you might want to check out. Give you an opportunity to post up some pictures of this street you're going to paint. I want to see it. I'm in the market for streets, so might be just the thing I need to see. Yeah, Roland, we're not that high tech, but remind me. Advertise. You'll have to talk to John about that. I can't answer that question. I'm just a volunteer. I am just a volunteer. So you'd have to run that by Mr. Cab Boss. Who is he might pop in tonight, or you can find him on Facebook or Discord. And if you just help me remember him before before I get off tonight, I will post the link for Discord up in the Twitch chat. Yeah, sorry, we're not that high tech yet. We ought to be, though. I mean, I honestly can't answer that question. I want to say he might be open to it, but again, that's John's call. He's running a business, not me. I'm just here regretting my choices about painting miniatures right now. Oh, Lord. Same exact spot as last time. Must be something about that spot that I can't paint very well. Concentration. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. I'm just not very good at this. And I'm like a little kindergartner with my tongue stuck out, trying to stay inside the lines of my coloring book. Trying to stay in the lines of my coloring book. So, I mean, again, Roland, I don't know how new you are to our channel, but I just assumed everybody knew, but I'll say it again. Next weekend, the last weekend in March, is virtual CAV-CON. There's going to be a handful of us that are, been inoculated and, are cautious, and we feel confident we can gather safely, that are going to get together at CAV-HQ and hang out and chit-chat and maybe play some games and demo CAV ball and just, try and do virtually something that, we wish we could do physically. There will be new releases. There's going to be a drop ship in this scale, so my camera isn't that big, but it's big. Trust me, it's very big. New paints. Pass it as slow as you. Come on now. I think of myself as a very slow painter. I definitely like to get a running start. Look, like those airplanes that I painted up that I show is the opening because I don't have a video like John and the cool people do. Gosh, how long did it take me to paint those? I'm gonna say, I don't know, better part of the summer? Maybe a little bit, like a month or two, for sure. And that was just 6 planes. So yeah, I'm definitely a very slow painter. I'm going to wait and do that offline. I'm just driving myself crazy trying to paint those fiddly edges of those barrels from this particular angle. Although, all right now, listen, don't be trying to claim my title as world's slowest CAV painter, okay? I worked hard for that title. You can't have it. It's mine. I suppose we could have a non-painting contest for it. See which one of us cannot paint miniatures the slowest. I'm actually not terribly slow. I call myself slow. I'm not super slow. I've got so many other things going on in my life. You know, I thought, so I'll just tell you all. I'm 56 years old. Married for 33 years, 3 adult daughters. I thought life would get mellow after a while and I would have less things to do. It'd be like, oh man, I've got all that. I've got all the hard stuff done. I've done with soccer practice and I've been to, I've managed sleepovers and, just like got the house and, like life is going to chill out and I will just have all this free time to garden and hang out with my wife and play video games and paint miniatures. Turns out life has surprises for you no matter what your age. No matter what. I was mistaken to think that I was going to get away with anything like that. Life has got something for you. But that's okay. Keeps me on my feet. Keeps me on my toes. Probably should have got the edge of that panel in that first poltergeist. That's the other thing I love about this sort of thing, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll paint this here. Wait a minute, I didn't paint it on the other 4 models. Now I got to go back and paint this on the other models. Crap. Too much. Just pick that right back up as long as you're quick. And if not, I just call it a blended highlight. Yeah, Ilmarin. I'm sure you all know. I mean, we're all in this together, right? We all have similar experiences. Similar experiences. Different but congruent. I think that's the word we want. We want the word congruent. Excuse me. Vaguely remember there's a word my geometry teacher tried to teach me a long time ago. Mr. Moutre. Hope you're doing well. I also got to make sure I don't go overboard on this stuff because I really got to get these guys finished so I can devote the rest of this week to painting those CAV ball teams. They have, there's a bunch of airbrushing to be done. My airbrush will be getting a workout. I have one of them. I have more than one. So I saw where Reaper announced that they were going to try and have a live in-person convention this fall, or September. I'm not sure if that's fall or summer. It's right near the cusp. Which I went ahead and got a room for it. I'm not 100% sure we're going, but I think there's a good chance. Hopefully by then a lot of people will have their vaccinations. Hopefully. Sorry, I'm listening to the channel music. I actually like the music I get to pick out for the channel. It's really, it's very much in my vein. I've been on kind of a Frank Sinatra kick of late. Sponsored by my eldest daughter, of all things. She's like, Dad, listen to this. I'm like, yeah, sweetheart, I've heard this guy before. Amazingly enough. Wow, he's amazing. Yep. Yeah, Gimli, I get it. You know, there's only so many things you can do. Last year, in lieu of it, my wife and I rented a lake cabin for a good long weekend and just hung out in the middle of nowhere in this really beautiful, fanciest place I've ever stayed in. And that was our in place of Reaper Con thing. We were talking about that the other day, and it's like, hey, we probably can't do both of those. Which one do you want to do? I think we're leaning towards Reaper Con. If it's safe, we really want to see our friends. One of the things I'm excited for CAV weekend, CAV-CON, is the paint streams, right? So I know you've all heard me say this on various streams, but I am a disciple, a fan, whatever you want to call it, of Mr. Wapple. And I am excited to see him paint calves. I know he's painted them in the past, so it won't be the first time he's ever done this sort of thing. But it'll be the first time I've ever seen him do it. He's normally much more of a fantasy painter. And, well, I say that. He paints all kinds of things. He can paint all kinds of things. Lately, when I've been watching, he's been on a fantasy bent. So I'm excited to see him paint the game that I'm interested in. Well, that didn't work out, but I'm just going to leave it. Poltergeist number 3. And there's certainly several other people that are going to paint that I'm excited to see too. Thunderhead Studios, I believe. He's a really good painter here on Twitch that does a lot of that other game. He does a lot of everything. He paints a little bit of everything. But he's painted some of our stuff in the past. I say our stuff. Again, I'm just a player that John somehow accidentally gave the keys to his Twitch stream to. But yeah, CAV models, he paints them. And then Party Bear, he was here last week. I can't think of his name. Party Bear, I think. Anyway, there's just going to be lots of people streaming, I believe. Either John will be hosting them or they'll be actually streaming directly, kind of like I do here, directly on the Talon Games channel, I think. Some combination of the two. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's different paint style and thoughts. And I really want to make them feel welcome. So if you guys have any time, please come and hang out in their streams and kibitz with them, talk to them, and encourage them. Let them know that you care. CAV it's a good game. It's a small game. It needs as much noise as we can make for it. At least that's what I think. So anything you can do to help out with that is greatly, greatly appreciated. Yeah, there's some of these angles I'm just not going to try from this distance away. Like I want to put a tiny line down this line right here. And I think I can do it, but I just can't do it at this angle. You guys are like, James, we can't even see the miniature. Get a new camera and stay on target. Sounds like a Star Wars line. Stay on target. So Thursday night, I don't know if any of you are into this sort of thing, but I don't know what time it releases, but the Zack Snyder Justice League cut releases on HBO Max or HBO. I don't know what that stuff's called. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then Friday we get the release of the first episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Another thing I'm really excited about. Looking forward to watching all of the superhero TV shows. Hopefully. In fact, if it hadn't have been for the Big Stompy podcast broadcast being Thursday night, I'm sure my wife and I probably would have watched the entire Snyder Cut Thursday night, because I'm pretty sure they're releasing the whole thing at once. It's about 4 hours, as I understand it. Which I'm stoked for. Ah, that's funny. I switched brushes. No wonder that one's painting a little differently. I was using a number 3 instead of my number 2. I was like, this brush seems a little bigger than I remember it being. It turns out it was. Yeah, Gimli. It starts this Friday, and I too was very pleased with WandaVision. I would certainly never make it as a critic, because the things I like even in the face of their terrible flaws. But I think WandaVision was really good. I'm also a fan of minutia or detail or whatever you want to call it, so it doesn't matter to me that, maybe not as much happened in the show as some other people would have liked. I won't name John, but I think he may have expected a little bit more out of the show. And he's just wrong, but he's wrong a lot, I don't know if you guys realize it, but there's a lot of things he just doesn't get right. He's a lovable big bear of a guy, but man, come on. WandaVision was spectacular, John. So yeah, keep your eye out for that this weekend, Gimli. Now, so with WandaVision, on opening, they gave us... Oh, that's too much. Wipe that off. On opening evening, they gave us 2 episodes, but the WandaVision episodes were kind of low content. They were artsy. They were kind of short on story development. I anticipate that the Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be a lot denser in terms of the action and the plot advancement. Less of a... I don't know, maybe that's not true. More of an action flick and less of a mystery, I think, is what we're going to get with the Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I would be happy to be wrong. I just want to watch. Yeah, I really try and avoid those as shows are coming out. So, like, what I will do, I'm going to promote a channel. I don't know this person, obviously no money, nothing like that. There's a YouTube channel called Emergency Awesome, where the guy covers all kinds of, I don't know how to say it, sort of geek shows. Star Wars, Mandalorian, WandaVision, all the big movies, Justice League, all that stuff. And so what he'll do is he will basically go in and try and, prognosticate about what he thinks is going to happen, in the, with shows, and he will, Easter egg it, he'll tell you things you might not have known and try and anticipate what the consequences of those things could be. He'll point out things that, you didn't realize. I'm sure there's a million channels that do that. He just happens to be one of my favorite ones. And so I will watch his show, but only in retrospect. So, like, after, like we watched, after we would finish an episode of WandaVision, we would immediately flip over and watch his summary of that episode. But I was, always careful to not, because occasionally I think he gets the stuff early a little bit. And so I just never click on his stuff when I haven't watched something. I don't even know if he would spoil anything on purpose or accident. But I don't give him the chance because I just don't want to be, I don't want to have my moment of discovery spoiled. And so I generally, when like right now, I'm not watching a lot of YouTube or any of those kind of things because I don't want to have anybody spoil the whatever might be in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I want to encounter it fresh as much as I can. See if I could finish this guy. Yeah, maybe. And then that'll be about time. I gotta get some paint on the brush to be able to paint. It turns out those two things go together. Painting requires paint. Well, I'm sure there are people that can paint without paint, but that's not why I'm here. Yeah, so, I don't really know much about U.S. Agent. I anticipate that he'll be sort of duped into whatever chicanery they get him for. But I don't know for sure. I will go back afterwards and read about him, but I don't actually know much about U.S. Agent. I know a little bit about Baron Zemo. From my days as a comic reader. And of course, everybody knows Captain America and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier now because of the movies. I can't say I really knew who the Winter Soldier was before the movies. But now that I've seen him, I can get down with that. That's a good character. I'm interested in that guy, that character. A little bit too much right there. Yeah, Roland, I think it will. I mean, not that I know anything. I'm just going off the knowledge of people that are deeper into, the whole comic universe than me. I'm a avid but casual consumer of this sort of stuff. So I read comics occasionally. Like I'm reading a Hawkeye series by Matt Fraction right now. Almost done with that. But I'm just a casual comic book person nowadays. When I was younger, I was much more serious. But yeah, I think they will. All the people that I follow who digest that stuff for me seem to think that Thunderbolts is on its way. I'm looking forward to all of the series. I mean, Loki. Who doesn't like the Loki character? That Tom Hiddleston guy and the writers that wrote for him. They just kill it. He's amazing. I'm super happy with that character. We just, over the last couple of weekends, my wife and I managed to sneak in enough time to rewatch the 3 Thor movies. And seeing Loki work in those, and Chris Hemsworth too, the guy that played Thor, Jane Foster, who's God, I'm terrible with names. I feel bad. I should know her name. I like her. I like the lady that played Darcy. She was in WandaVision. I just can't. I just don't normally remember names. I'm much better at spotting people by their face. I will see a face and go, I've seen this person somewhere before, and I'll be able to figure it out. Like the lady that was in the WandaVision commercials. Yes, Natalie Portman. Thank you very much, Gimli. The lady that was that tall, thin lady that was in the WandaVision commercials with the wavy hair. She's also in the Doom Patrol. And Allison and my wife and I were watching Doom Patrol the other day, and her scene came on, and I was like, wait a minute. I think this is the lady from the WandaVision show. And it turns out I was right. Love the internet. We immediately stopped the show and ran over and Googled it, and we were like, yeah, it's her. Natalie Portman. Yeah, she's done a lot of really good things. I'm super excited to see her do her role in Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know what they're going to call Lady Thor or whatever she's called. I read the comic when it first came out. It's one of the last things I bought in paper. I've given up the idea of paper comics. I love the comic industry, but I just can't be bothered to store all that stuff. So now I just buy mine digitally. Or just, buy the subscription, really is what I do. Yeah, I was really pleased with that storyline. And so one of the other games that I'm interested in is a game called Marvel Crisis Protocol. And so I belong to some discords for that. And those people many of them are way deeper and more knowledgeable about comics than I am. So they'll recommend a series, and I'll run out and download it onto my tablet or my phone or something and spend some time reading it. And so far they're batting 1,000. This Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye is beautiful and amazing at the same time. The Thor movies where Captain... Oh, yeah, technically she is Luke Skywalker's mom, isn't she? That's right. Yeah, MCP is a fantastic game. I don't have very many models painted, but it's a really good game. Again, I haven't played much of it because of this whole pandemic thing, but I follow the people that are managing to get in games and the people that play on Tabletop Simulator and listen to a lot of podcasts. Do what I can to consume, to educate myself about the game before I get a chance to play it. And I have a friend that he and I will, again, people that are inoculated and socially responsible and whatnot. We get together once in a while, just he and I, to play a tabletop game. So I played a handful of Marvel Crisis Protocol, but not enough. And those models, man, they are amazing. I need to up my painting game. All right, this is starting to get out of hand here. I need to finish this model. Just get a little bit more edge highlighting. Some of these pieces are so small that the edge highlighting really just becomes highlighting. It's like, oh, look, you missed and got it all over the whole center of that thing. Well, we'll just call that a highlight. It's all right. Only has to make me happy. So, Cthulhu, before MCP came out, several of us dove into the the Batman game, and the honest truth is, I'm a bigger DC fan than I am a Marvel fan. Now that's kind of crazy talk because I'm I'm about 1,000% a Marvel fan, so I'm probably about 1,010 or 11% a DC fan. It's just what I grew up with. You know, the way I find a lot of a lot of people nowadays grew up with Star Wars, and so that's a big impression on them. When I was very young, there wasn't a lot of that stuff around, and what there was mostly 66 Batman. So it made a huge impression on me, and so that's my thing. So we bought a bunch of the miniatures and had intentions of playing and got the rule book, and you know, it just didn't pan out. People weren't as committed as they said they were going to be, and here's the downside. The DC miniatures are tiny. They're true scale, and so they are itty bitty. I mean, to the point where, you know, so I bought the Riddler crew, right? And the Riddler crew comes with a bunch of very normal sized people, and they're so petite, it's kind of comedic. And so that was another reason I think that game sort of faded before it ever really had a chance, because once I got the miniatures and saw what they looked like, I was not as enthusiastic about them. Now, they've done some interesting things lately. I've seen some really crazy over-the-top, like diorama-level miniatures that they've been putting out. And I mean, the quality is there. The size is mind-numbingly petite. And so it's just not really my cup of tea. So that's where Batman ended up for me. Yeah, Gimli, about the shot, A, I'm old, and B, you know, I work in, I forget what the right word is, but, you know, like a vital industry or whatever you want to call it. So it was, you know, easier for me, I guess, than for others. But, you know, you know, it'll work out for everybody. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. In the meantime, everybody's got to be safe. In the meantime, I need to go grab a Discord link. I can tell, because the music has stopped. I made the music playlist the length of what an episode should be, and so when it stops, I'm like, oh wait a minute, there's no music. I'm running overtime. It's okay. John doesn't pay any extra for overtime, so he's not going to mind. Close enough. I got to stop being so fussy. Get these things done. All right, so while I'm going and getting this Discord link, Roland, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what your comment means, but all I know is I went to the Tulsa Health. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I went to the Tulsa Health Department's website. I filled out a questionnaire. They said, "Here, sign up to come and get it." So I went and got it. Just doing what the health department told me to do. Let me go get you a Discord link. Discord. Discord. Where are you, Discord? Good for you, Gimli. Hope it works out great for you. I was kind of surprised they didn't bring them to our facility as well. We have such a huge number of employees that work in our manufacturing plant. I was a little surprised that they didn't set something up like that. All right, let's see if I can remember how to invite people. Send a server invite. Copy. Edit the invite type. Set it to never expire. Set it to have no limit on uses. Generate a new link. Copy. And then see if I can get back over to Twitch and figure out how to put this in the chat. Here you go, Roland. this should invite you to the Talon Games Discord server. So if you're of the mood, join us over there. Come and show us your stuff. Hang out with us. Talk to us. Yeah, Ilmarin. I mean, obviously, I hope that whoever's making these decisions is making them in an appropriate manner. I mean, I trust. This is going to sound really naive. Generally speaking, I trust the government to make wise decisions. Obviously, that's sometimes not true. But, so I just follow the rules, right? Just follow the rules. All right, so let's summarize what's going on. Tomorrow night, Terrain Tuesday with CAV Boss, same CAV channel, same CAV time. That's 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on Tuesday. Wednesday, you can tune in, and listen to me, James, and CAV Boss, John, as we just talk about stuff in general. I'm hoping that 1 week before CAV-CON, we might actually have a CAV-CON schedule. I'm going to tease John mercilessly if we don't, so please join me on that. School bus treads, yay, summary. Let me see. Thursday is every third Thursday of the month, we try and do a little Twitch stream, which we call the Big Stompy Podcast. Ross Hines and I used to do an audio podcast for about a year that covered CAV. And so he and I come back and do it on this Twitch channel. You'll see me, you'll hear Ross. And lately we've had Todd Farnholtz, Master Guns, and Hugh, who is Tiger Wraith, hang out. Cool. Looking forward to seeing them, Roland. Hanging out and just talking about stuff that as we build our way up to CAV-CON. And it's 1 week away, or less than a week away, when we go online again. So hopefully people will be telling us about their success stories. I know for a fact the thing I'm going to talk about is how much I struggled with trying to get all this stuff done, and how I spun my wheels and went forwards and backwards, and just I've got some. I'm going to share my experiences and hopefully maybe help the people that listen find a way to get through their own challenges. Ooh, Roland, did you say a bad word? No, probably not. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. And then Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, Chris Lewis, one of our fantastic sculptors, again, this is not my company. I feel like I'm part of the family. We'll get to that in a second, Gimli. It's a great question. Saturday, Chris Lewis will be working on probably some 28 to 32 millimeter CAV models. John is introducing a line of regular, like 28 millimeter humans, faction peoples, that he's going to release for sale that are CAV pilots, CAV peoples. I should make him print one out and send it to me so I can show it off. And so I'm excited to see how those come out. One of the things that came up during the Saturday stream was a question of scale. So currently, we can't really tell. All the faction models that we have are kind of scale agnostic, right? So like a CAV or a tank, you can't really get a sense of how big the members of the faction are based on their equipment. And the infantry are so small, there's no distinguishing between them, right? They're just kind of one model serves all factions. But in 28 to 32 millimeter scale, we can tell, is a Malvernon really wide and short? Is a Rock tall and bald? I mean, there's these things that we don't actually know yet, and so we need to pester John. Let's peck away. Let's get John to give us some information about that. He owes us some info. So please help me on Wednesday or whatever day you happen to be available to bug him about that. Now, back to Gimli. Oh, he tried to post a link. Yeah, okay. Or maybe he's limited it to just certain people. Roland, if you want, whatever that link was, I'll send you a message on Discord and you can share it with me. And if it's cool, I will post it up here for you next time if you like, maybe. Anyway, spinning wheels when they're tank treads. So when I was in the Army, I was stationed at Fort Knox. I was a medic. Fort Knox is where they train armor, or at least they used to. I don't know if they still do or not. And so one of the things we would do is whenever the tankers had to go out and learn how to drive, basically when anybody had to go out, they would send out medics just to hang out and watch and make sure nothing crazy happened, and to help people if it did. We'd take care of people that got too hot and dehydrated or banged up their knee or fell or twisted or cut something. And, occasionally more complicated things would happen. That's what medics are for. And so it was funny to see these tankers when they were teaching the drivers not to get off the gas as they drove through basically a river that was deeper than their tank. Oh my gosh, the ones that panicked is probably the wrong word, but the ones that let up on the gas a little bit, it was just so much. It was so funny to watch them have to haul that tank out of that muddy ass river. It was crazy. That is good advice, Roland. Change your socks. That is fantastic advice. All right, medic advice, right? Because that's excellent medic advice. All right. So I'm going to sign off now. It was nice to see you, Roland. Hopefully you come back and visit us again. Gimli, Ilmarin, Cthulhu, all of you guys. USAF. Hats off to you, sir. Hats off to you. Sir, I assume. If you're not a sir, my apologies. I'm being gender biased. Sorry. I didn't do it intentionally. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming in and hanging out with us. And hopefully I'll see you again Wednesday and Thursday and during virtual CAV-CON. Be safe, everybody. Do something nice for somebody. That's what I always like to end the show with. Just try in some tiny little way to make somebody else's day a little bit better. If we all do that, I think things will be better. Talk to you later. Bye.